Harlem, New York. A neighborhood of culture, resilience, and history. But for many who grew up here, life was anything but easy. One of them was Sean John Combs, aka Diddy. At just 2 years old, Sean lost his father, Melvin Combs, a man whose life ended too soon. Raised by a single mother, he learned early that survival meant working harder than everyone else. In the early 90s, he wasn't just another young man chasing a dream, he was reshaping an entire industry. From an intern at Uptown Records to founding Bad Boy Entertainment, his drive was unmatched. With an eye for talent and a mind for business, he discovered and launched some of hip-hop's biggest names, the notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, Maze. If you were in hip-hop, you wanted to be with Bad Boy. But music was just the beginning. He built a brand, Sean John, Cyrock, Television. His influence stretched far beyond hip-hop. To many, he was more than just an artist, he was a mogul, a mentor, and a symbol of success. He gave back, donating millions to education, opening schools, and mentoring young artists. For years, he was celebrated as a leader in music, business, and culture. But with great power comes great scrutiny. Rumors, lawsuits, accusations, they followed him, but he always seemed to rise above them. Then came the allegations that could change everything. Accusations of abuse, control, and corruption. The man once celebrated as a king in music now finds himself at the center of a federal investigation. The world is watching as his legacy is questioned. Was Sean Combs a music visionary who got lost in power, or a man who built an empire at the expense of others? This is the story of Sean Diddy Combs, his rise, his power, and the case that could define his legacy forever. Sean John Combs was born on November 4, 1969, in Harlem, New York, a neighborhood known for its vibrant culture, artistic influence, and deep-rooted history. But like many in the city during that time, his early life was shaped by struggle. At just 2 years old, Sean's world was forever changed. His father, Melvin Combs, was murdered in Central Park. A former U.S. Air Force officer who later became involved in street dealings, Melvin's death left Sean without a father figure. The details of his murder remain shadowed in mystery, but its impact on young Sean was undeniable. Left to raise her son alone, his mother, Janice Combs, a hard-working model and teacher's assistant, made it clear, if Sean wanted to make something of himself, he would have to work harder than everyone else. She instilled in him the importance of discipline, resilience, and ambition, qualities that would define his career. Even as a child, Sean had a presence. At Mount St. Michael Academy, a private Catholic school in the Bronx, he excelled in sports, particularly football. But his dreams extended far beyond the field. He had a different kind of hustle, one that would soon change the music industry forever. In 1987, Sean enrolled at Howard University, one of the most prestigious historically black colleges in America. It was here that he refined his business mindset, learning the art of networking, marketing, and branding. But sitting in classrooms wasn't enough. He wanted to be in the heart of the music industry. So, at just 19 years old, he took a risk, leaving Howard University after 2 years to chase his dream in New York City. Sean started as an unpaid intern at Uptown Records, one of the most influential R&B and hip-hop labels of its time. Under the mentorship of Andre Harrell, the label's founder, he learned everything about the business, how to develop artists, produce hit records, and, most importantly, how to sell a brand. It didn't take long for Sean to make an impact. He was instrumental in shaping the careers of Jodeci and Mary J. Blige, helping redefine R&B with a hip-hop edge. His reputation as a marketing genius grew, and soon, he wasn't just an intern, he was one of the most powerful young executives in the industry. But power comes with risks. After a high-profile disagreement with Andre Harrell over creative control, Sean was fired from Uptown. It was a turning point. Instead of seeing it as a setback, he saw it as an opportunity. Just months later, he launched his own record label, Bad Boy Entertainment. The 1990s marked the golden age of hip-hop, and Sean Combs was right at the center of it. With a keen ear for talent, he signed a young Brooklyn rapper named Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie's debut album, Ready to Die, became an instant classic, cementing both his and Bad Boy's place in hip-hop history. With its success, Sean had officially built a movement. But he wasn't just shaping music, he was shaping culture. The Bad Boy brand was more than music, it was an identity. It represented success, wealth, and style. With flashy videos, larger-than-life personas, and anthems that defined a generation, Diddy turned Bad Boy into a household name. But music was just the beginning. Diddy understood branding like no one else. He launched Sean John, a clothing line that quickly became a multi-million-dollar empire. He partnered with Ciroc Vodka, transforming it from an unknown brand into one of the biggest names in the liquor industry. Television, fashion, spirits, there was no industry he couldn't conquer. By the early 2000s, he wasn't just a music mogul. He was a global entrepreneur. But success wasn't just about wealth. Diddy never forgot where he came from. He donated millions to educational programs, launched the Capital Preparatory Harlem Charter School, and mentored countless young artists and entrepreneurs. He supported movements for social justice, advocating for black excellence and financial empowerment. In an industry that often exploited its artists, he pushed for ownership, teaching the next generation to control their own destinies. Through his work, he didn't just build a label, he built legacies. Artists who started under Bad Boy went on to shape the music industry for decades. For years, Sean "Diddy" Combs was the blueprint for success. He inspired millions, changed the industry, and built an empire from nothing. But as history has shown, the more power a man holds, the more complicated his story becomes. For years, Sean "Diddy" Combs embodied success, power, and influence. A self-made mogul who dominated music, fashion, and business. But as his empire grew, so did the whispers, accusations of control, manipulation, and a lifestyle that few truly understood. To the public, he was a businessman. To those in his inner circle, he was something else entirely. As early as the late 90s, former artists began speaking out. The Lox, a rap trio once signed to Bad Boy, accused Diddy of unfair contracts, keeping them locked into deals that prevented them from owning their own music. The tension reached a boiling point when they went on radio, publicly demanding their release from the label. Maze, another one of Bad Boy's biggest stars, would later echo these complaints. Despite making millions for the label, he claimed Diddy refused to sell him back the rights to his own music unless he paid an outrageous sum. He accused his former mentor of prioritizing control over fairness. These complaints weren't just about business, they hinted at something deeper. A pattern of control. A desire to keep those around him indebted, financially and emotionally. But while these stories of strict contracts and financial disputes made headlines, they were overshadowed by rumors of something much darker, his personal life. December 27, 1999. A night that would change everything. Inside Club New York, a heated argument escalated into chaos. Shots were fired, people were injured, and the club descended into panic. In the center of it all, Sean Combs and his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. Police arrived within minutes. Witnesses claimed Combs' protégé, rapper Shine, had pulled the trigger. But what caught the media's attention was how Diddy reacted, allegedly fleeing the scene in his SUV, leading police on a chase through Manhattan before being caught and arrested. In the months that followed, the case played out in courtrooms and headlines. Shine was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Diddy, however, walked free, acquitted of all charges. Many saw it as proof of his power, his ability to escape situations that could ruin others. It wouldn't be the last time his name was linked to controversy. Over the years, more allegations surfaced, stories of violent outbursts, controlling relationships, and behind-the-scenes incidents that rarely made headlines. Gene Deal, a longtime bodyguard, claimed that working for Diddy meant keeping secrets that, if revealed, could end careers. Some former employees alleged that he had an unpredictable temper, that he used his wealth and status to control those around him. But no one had solid proof, just rumors, whispers, and fear. For years, he dismissed the accusations as jealousy, claiming that success came with enemies. And for a long time, that defense worked. But in the world of power and influence, control doesn't last forever. And as history has shown, what starts as whispers often grows into something impossible to ignore. For decades, Sean "The Diddy" Combs was one of the most powerful figures in the music industry. But power doesn't last forever. In late 2023, a lawsuit was filed, one that would change everything. What started as a single accusation quickly became a tidal wave of allegations, leading to federal investigations and a scandal unlike anything the industry had seen before. For years, Cassie Ventura was more than just an artist signed to Diddy's label. She was his partner, his protege, and according to those close to them, someone deeply entangled in his world. Their relationship lasted over a decade, but few knew what was happening behind closed doors. In November 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Combs of years of physical abuse, coercion, and sex trafficking. She claimed he controlled her career, her finances, and even her personal life, using his power to keep her trapped in a cycle of fear and manipulation. The lawsuit described disturbing allegations, claims that he forced her into situations against her will, that he used threats and violence to maintain control. She described an environment of fear where saying no wasn't an option. Less than a day after filing, Cassie's lawsuit was settled. Some saw it as a swift resolution, others as a sign of something much bigger. Cassie's case was just the beginning. Within weeks, more women stepped forward, former employees, dancers, assistants, each with stories of their own. Some described violent outbursts. Others spoke of an industry where saying no to a powerful man meant losing everything. Many claimed they stayed silent for years, fearful of what would happen if they spoke out. As more lawsuits were filed, the allegations painted a pattern, one that could no longer be ignored. And soon, the claims were no longer just about Diddy's personal life. They pointed to something far more serious. For years, Diddy was known for throwing some of the most exclusive parties in the entertainment industry. But according to multiple reports, these gatherings were more than just celebrations, they were carefully controlled environments, where guests were allegedly pressured into situations they couldn't escape from. Several lawsuits mentioned a phrase repeated by multiple accusers: freak-offs to parties. According to those who attended, these were private events where women were allegedly coerced into engaging in acts against their will. Some claimed they were given substances without consent. Others described a system where power dynamics left them with little choice. While some dismissed the claims as exaggerated, the sheer number of accusations raised serious questions about what had been happening behind closed doors for years. For decades, lawsuits came and went, and allegations faded into the background. But in early 2024, the situation changed. What began as civil lawsuits quickly caught the attention of federal investigators. Federal agencies began looking into claims of sex trafficking, racketeering, and other serious charges. Unlike past lawsuits, these weren't just allegations in courtrooms, they were criminal investigations with the full force of the law behind them. Investigators reportedly gathered evidence from multiple locations, speaking to individuals who had remained silent for years. And for the first time in his career, Sean Combs was no longer just facing public scrutiny, he was facing the possibility of real legal consequences. Despite the mounting accusations, Diddy and his legal team maintain his innocence. His attorneys argue that these claims are exaggerated, fueled by individuals seeking financial gain or revenge in a changing industry climate. He has denied all allegations, calling them a money grab and a targeted attack against his success. His defenders argue that, in an era of increased scrutiny, powerful men are often taken down by unproven claims. Some in the industry question why these allegations are surfacing now. Others argue that justice delayed is still justice served. But as federal authorities continue their investigation, one thing is clear: this is no longer just a media controversy. It is a case with real legal stakes, one that could determine the future of a man who once seemed untouchable. For decades, Sean Diddy Combs stood as a symbol of success, resilience, and reinvention. But as allegations and investigations unfold, the world is left questioning, who is the real man behind the empire? Is he a predator who exploited his power? Or is he a product of an industry that thrives on excess, control, and survival at all costs? Hip-hop is more than music, it's a battlefield. A billion-dollar industry where only the strongest survive. In a world dominated by contracts, power plays, and backdoor deals, did Diddy do anything different from those before him? Or was he simply playing the game the way it's always been played? From his early days as an intern at Uptown Records to becoming the head of Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy learned that in this business, power isn't given, it's taken. He fought for his artists, built a brand that reshaped the culture, and solidified his status as a mogul. But did that relentless ambition come at a cost? The music industry is known for taking young talent and spitting them out when they're no longer profitable. Did Diddy become the very thing he once feared? Did he adopt the cutthroat mentality needed to survive, only to lose himself in the process? Extreme wealth and power don't just change a person, they isolate them. For years, Diddy was surrounded by success, but how many people around him were telling him no? How many were there for him, not for the money, the fame, or the lifestyle? When you're at the top, paranoia sets in. You question loyalty, you fear betrayal, and you control what you can. For someone who lost his father to violence at just 2 years old, did Diddy spend his life trying to create a world where he was untouchable? Was his obsession with control simply about business? Or was it about something deeper, a man who built an empire, only to be trapped within it? Before he was a mogul, before he was a household name, Sean Combs was a boy from Harlem who lost his father in a violent world. He was raised by a single mother, taught to be strong, ambitious, and never to show weakness. But trauma doesn't disappear, it follows, shaping the choices we make. Did he ever learn how to process grief? Did he ever learn how to deal with emotions in a healthy way? Or did he build his empire as a way to protect himself from a world that once took everything from him? Many who experience early childhood trauma develop a need for control in adulthood. The more powerful they become, the less they want to feel vulnerable. In Diddy's case, was his desire for dominance over his career, his relationships, and even those around him, a response to a childhood where he had no control at all? The world loves a hero, and it loves a villain. But what happens when someone is both? Is Diddy a ruthless predator, or is he a man shaped by trauma, power, and an industry that rewards excess? Some believe that power corrupts, and Diddy is no exception. Others argue that he was never given the tools to navigate his pain in a healthy way, leading him down a dangerous path. Neither excuses the accusations against him, but it raises the question, can we separate the man from the machine that created him? A lifetime of ambition, power, and excess has led to this moment. Whether he is remembered as a legend or as a cautionary tale is yet to be decided. But one thing is clear, the world is watching, and the final chapter of Sean Diddy Combs' story has yet to be written. As the legal battles unfold, one question remains, what happens next? Is there a path to redemption for Sean Diddy Combs? Or has his empire, built over decades, finally reached the point of no return? History has shown that redemption is possible. Artists like Chris Brown, after a highly publicized assault case, faced intense backlash yet continued to thrive in the industry. Others, like R. Kelly, found themselves permanently ostracized. So where does Diddy fall on that scale? For his supporters, Diddy is more than these allegations. They see him as a cultural icon, a businessman who gave back, a leader who changed hip-hop forever. For his critics, no amount of past success can erase the accusations that now define him. If found guilty, what does justice look like for someone as powerful as Sean Combs? Would he face real consequences, or would his influence shield him, as it has for others before him? The justice system has long been accused of favoring the rich and powerful. Will this case be any different? Diddy's story isn't just about one man, it's about an industry that has long thrived on power, control, and excess. Is he the only one guilty of such behavior, or is he simply the one who got caught? For years, whispers of abuse, coercion, and unchecked power have surrounded some of the biggest names in entertainment. Is hip-hop finally being forced to reckon with its past? Or is this just the beginning of more names coming to light? Many in the industry have spoken about a culture that protects the powerful and silences the victims. Has Diddy's case finally pushed the conversation to a breaking point? Will this be a turning point for hip-hop, a moment where accountability replaces protection for the elite? Or will history repeat itself, and another powerful figure rise to take Diddy's place? In the end, Sean Diddy Combs' legacy is no longer his alone to define. It now lies in the hands of the courts, the public, and history itself. Some see him as a mastermind criminal, a man who used his wealth and influence to get away with the unthinkable. Others see a man who lost his way, shaped by an industry that rewards power without limits. Is this the fall of a king or just another chapter in the long, complicated story of Sean Diddy Combs? You decide. Over the past hour, we've explored the extraordinary life of Sean Diddy Combs. From the streets of Harlem to the heights of global fame, from a young entrepreneur with a vision to one of the most powerful figures in entertainment, and now, possibly, a man facing his reckoning. We've seen both sides of his story. The groundbreaking achievements, the cultural influence, and the undeniable impact he's had on music, fashion, and business. But we've also seen the cracks, the controversies, the allegations, the claims of manipulation and control that have followed him for years. To some, Diddy is a visionary, a mogul who created opportunities for black artists in an industry that rarely made space for them. To others, he is a man who used his power for personal gain, silencing those who challenged him and allegedly abusing those closest to him. And now, with a federal investigation underway, the world waits to see if this will be the final chapter in his legacy, or just another storm he weathers. The story of Sean Combs is not just about one man. It's about power, influence, and the unchecked authority that comes with being at the top. For decades, the entertainment industry has protected its biggest stars. But as more voices speak out, as more allegations come to light, we are forced to ask, how many more stories like this exist? And how many have yet to be told? For years, Diddy stood as a symbol of success, proof that with ambition and resilience, anything was possible. But when power goes unchecked, when influence shields people from accountability, what happens next? Is Diddy an isolated case, or just the beginning of a larger reckoning in the music industry? So, after everything we've uncovered, what do you think? Does Diddy deserve redemption, or does he deserve justice? Should he be remembered as a pioneer in hip-hop, or as a man whose past finally caught up with him? In the court of public opinion, the verdict is still undecided. But soon, a real courtroom will determine his fate. And whatever happens next, one thing is certain, this story is far from over. Now, I turn the question to you. What do you think about the rise and fall of Sean Diddy Combs? Do you believe in second chances, or should power come with consequences? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more deep dives like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious and stay aware.